Welcome on back, everybody, to episode 81, where we have a mischievous episode today where we're going to talk about Loki episode 1, Glorious Purpose. Sit back, relax. This is Streaming with the Mouse. Welcome back, everybody, to episode 81 of Streaming with the Mouse, where today we are breaking down the first episode of the new Disney Plus original series, Loki. It's called Glorious Purpose, and joining me, as always, is I don't know what you want to be. You can be the Loki to my Thor, I guess, if you want, Cliff. But
Oh,
Cliff,
why aren't you? Why aren't you Loki? You don't want to be Loki?
well, which Loki am I going to be? Am I going to be like 2012 Loki? Am I 2018 Loki? Like, where am
That's a
I
good
at here?
point. That's a good point. The Loki to my Loki.
We can be Loki the Lokis, and we
There.
can just be variant Lokis. Why not? But joining me, as always, is
Uh,
Cliff. Cliff, say hello to the nice people.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back for me this week, and also welcome back to Cam for
Yes.
missing a show. Shame on you. No,
Yes, but I want to give a
you are
quick shout out.
back.
I want to give a quick shout out to you, Cliff. I'm halfway through the episode. I haven't listened to the full thing yet, but you guys sounded awesome. So thank you so much for covering that. For those that don't know, I had my wedding celebration this past weekend. I got married last year, but with COVID, we didn't get to do the celebration. So this whole week, I've been busy just playing catch up on sleep and cleaning and putting things away. So I appreciate Cliff for stepping up and leading that Bad Batch episode with our guest. So I was super excited about that. And from what I've heard so far, it's great. I can't wait to finish it soon. But Cliff, we got Loki. And
We got Loki.
initial thoughts, I loved it. I don't know about you. I loved it. I'm assuming you liked it a lot, at least. What were your initial thoughts on Loki? We'll get into it soon. But
I didn't know what to expect, but I was very impressed with it. It was. I don't even want to. I don't even know if I should say everything I wanted it to be and more. But that's kind of what it was. It was like I didn't know what I was going into it, but then after I finished this episode, I'm like, wow, I think this is going to be the best Marvel show that we've seen so
I'll
far.
say this. I love WandaVision. I know I haven't shut up about it. I really like Falcon and Winter Soldier. As much as I love WandaVision and how much I like Falcon and Winter Soldier, this was by far the best episode one out of the three shows. I think that's a very safe bet to say for WandaVision. I know I was still excited about for WandaVision episode one because we got episode one and two in the same night, and I knew where it was going, so I like was able to put up with episode one. And I thought Falcon Winter Soldier episode one was really good, but this was awesome because this was great because it felt like WandaVision, where we don't really know where the show is going, but we kind of do at the same time. So there's a lot of cool areas for speculation here, and I thought they kicked, or not the kicked, they knocked this one out of the park, I guess is the expression I want to use. I thought this was phenomenal, a great intro to this miniseries.
Yeah, it absolutely was. I know there's only 6 episodes. There's rumors that there's going to be multiple seasons to the show. Um, but I would have loved the first 2 episodes. I understand why we're not getting them because there's only 6 total. But this definitely left me at the end wanting more and wondering where it's going to go next. I have a theory that we'll talk about at the end.
Sure.
Um, no, it's not Mephisto. Everyone shut up. Everyone
That
just
was very
shut up.
close to being a Mephisto there. I almost made a joke at like three in the morning.
Everyone just shut up for a minute. Now let me think. No, it is not Mephisto. I will fight people on that one. I'm pretty sure they confirmed it's not Mephisto,
Yeah, I
which
believe
is even
that.
funnier. But I do have a couple opinions about what's going to be coming. I don't
Sure.
care if I'm right or wrong, but we'll talk about them. I've been pretty good at guessing for these Marvel shows so far, so let's see if the streak continues.
Sure. Before we get into it in full, Cliff and I had talked before this episode. We had no news. I forgot I did have one piece of news. So Variety had a conversation between Ewan McGregor and Pedro Pascal, and it seems like season three of The Mandalorian has not begun filming yet, which I
Well, I
think
have
makes
another
sense.
thing too. Then
I think makes sense because I think they basically have confirmed, but not really confirmed, that we are not getting Mando 3 this year. We'll be getting it early next year, I think, because we're getting Book of Boba Fett later this like Christmas time or December wise. So it makes sense why they haven't started filming yet, but they've confirmed that hasn't started filming. And then I believe I saw Thor: Love and Thunder, which I know is not Disney Plus, but it's MCU related, so we're going to talk about it. But that is filmed, finished wrapping as well as far as the filming has gone.
I didn't see anything about Thor: Love and Thunder. Yes, Mandalorian is not finished. Man, hasn't even started yet. For those who want to know how contracts in film work, supposedly Pedro Pascal's um, contract with HBO for The Last of Us, where he's playing Joel, takes priority. It's the thing where it's like whatever HBO sets as his schedule is what everyone else has to work around. Um, I don't know even know if that started filming yet. Thor: Love and Thunder, I saw that Taika Waititi said that this might be even funnier than Ragnarok, which would be excellent.
That means
Uh,
this could win like best comedy or something like
it
that because
could. It
that
could
was
potentially
great.
win something like that. And then Book of Boba Fett finished filming the other day, and there were hints from the crew uh, that supposedly Bosk might make an appearance, which I think would be really cool. Give him some actual live action screen time compared to just animation. And I'll just throw it in there just because I've seen a couple more people throw it out since we started this. Supposedly for the She-Hulk series, Jamila Jamil, who's best known for her role as Tahani in The Good Place, is supposedly cast as Titania as the villain for She-Hulk.
Yeah,
Cool.
pretty interesting stuff all around. I mean, we got the little Disney, or we didn't get any Disney in there. I guess we got
No,
some Star
nothing.
Wars and Marvel. But no, I'm excited for everything to come. And uh, I'll say this, man. I know I'm a broken record. I love this stuff. I'm so happy we get to talk about this stuff week in and week out. And to get the new content we're getting after not getting basically, let's call it a spade, nothing basically last year until Mandalorian because of COVID. This is an exciting time to be a fan of this stuff. I'll tell you that.
No, it definitely is. But it's one thing to just talk about how much we like about talking about it. But you know what's even better about talking about it?
Let's shut up and talk about it.
Exactly.
All right, so we're gonna do these episodes just like we did for WandaVision toward the end, and just like we did for Falcon Winter Soldier. If you're listening to this, God, I hope you watched this episode because it's fantastic. Two, I don't want you to get spoiled on anything. But really, we're just gonna talk about the top five big things that happened, just to have a nice free flowing discussion about it. We don't need to go beat by beat because chances are, if you're listening to this, you've hopefully watched the episode, you've seen it once, maybe you've seen it three times like I have. I don't know what you do with your life, but that's
I've
up
seen
to
it
you.
twice.
So we'll just talk about the big things. So should we get into it, Cliff?
Let's get this ball rolling.
Awesome. So first things first is we first get to understand what the TVA is, why they exist in the MCU, and we learn a lot in this one little clip where they did a nice little like animation sequence where they had this spokesperson or character, if you want to call it Miss Minutes, is what the character is called, who's played by Tara Strong, who is a top like 10 voice actor for me. She does things like Harley Quinn and
Only
Batgirl, and
10.
yeah, oh yeah,
Jeez. Way to
absolutely.
shorter.
Well,
Jeez.
I well, I was thinking top five, but I
She should be like top three just based on she's literally our childhood. She's Timmy Turner. She's everything. She was Bubbles.
that's true. What's nice is like she's done so many DC roles. It's cool to see her in like Marvel and like to bring an animated voice into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think is pretty cool.
Yeah,
But she plays some nice
She's
things.
also Barbara Gordon in the Killing Joke. So
Yes,
that's pretty rough.
yeah,
If you know
she's
that
played a lot of
storyline.
Batgirl in different things. But anyway, I digress. Tara Strong, awesome to have her in as Miss Minutes. But Miss Minutes, they did do this nice little like spoon fed like here's what you need to know about the TVA through like this basically commercial that they play for all the variants that are coming into the TVA. But essentially, we learned that there was an intertimeline war where these timelines were all battling each other for supremacy, and in the aftermath, this group of three called the Timekeepers emerged, and they reorganized the multiverse into one single core timeline, which is now known as the Sacred Timeline. The Timekeepers then formed the TVA and its Minutemen to ensure the stability of the timeline. Any alterations to the flow or the intended flow of the timeline will result in being designated as a variant, causing a nexus event, which we get that keyword nexus, which is cool, and creating branching timelines. This would lead to another. This could lead to another multiverse conflict, which is why the TVA exists to make sure these variants aren't happening, just so there's one stable, sacred timeline. There is something we should note, though, that sometime jumping and sometime variance is okay. And we actually learned that it's okay if the time variance is supposed to happen. So, for example, when the Avengers jumped back in time to Endgame, which was going through my mind the whole time, like, why didn't the TVA show up there? That's okay because that was meant to happen. So the timekeepers and the TVA let that happen. but we get a lot of information about this, and we see how powerful the timekeepers are. And the big thing I think that confirms with this, at this moment, there is no such thing as a multiverse. Anything that is considered a multiverse right now in this universe, besides what happens at the end, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, gets shut down right away by the TVA. So I thought that was interesting, especially where we thought we were getting multiverses in WandaVision and Spider-Man Far From Home and all this other thing. So what were your thoughts on this little infomercial kind of thing of the TVA, where we get some really, really good background about why the TVA is just coming into existence now? Why didn't they play into Endgame? Why hasn't there been multiverses before this moment now? Your thoughts on this, Cliff?
So something we have to remember, wasn't Loki was supposed to come out before everything else? Wasn't it was supposed to be Falcon and the Winter Soldier, then Loki?
No, I believe Loki was always going to be third.
Okay, it was always going to be
Technically,
third,
fourth
but
with Black Widow.
Loki finished filming before everything else.
I
That
believe
was
so.
the big thing. Um, and it's like spoon feeding us right here. Like everything we've been told sounds like it's leading to um like Spider-Man's gonna be Spider-Verse, um and I mean Doctor Strange is absolutely gonna be a multiverse because it is called Multiverse of Madness. There's no getting around that.
This
My
is
first
definitely
Oh, go ahead.
this is the linchpin. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I know we said WandaVision. This is it.
This is
Multiverse.
it.
This
This is
this
it.
is the linchpin that gives us all that stuff. Has to be.
My And then we also know that Kang the Conqueror is coming in Ant-Man Quantumania.
Right.
I I personally think, and this just might be my weird like, oh, there is a multiverse, but what the overseers or whatever they're called do, or
Timekeepers.
the timekeepers did, they are not ensuring that multiverses don't break off. They've like sealed them away from everyone, so they've broken the multiverse away. So where there is a different, I'll say just actor, where there is a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, that's a completely different multiverse that follows similar ideas, but it's completely blocked off from this because it keeps showing Nexus level events. It's like, oh, watch out, it's getting close to red line. To me what it looks like is it follows a single straightforward path left to right, but then when it branches off and it's getting really close to that red line, if it connects with that red line, it doesn't break and make multiple multiverses, it breaks into the other multiverses.
Maybe
If that makes sense, I hope it does. That's like, I'm like thinking, I'm like, it's almost like it's like, oh, we better get out of here before it shatters the wall, before it breaks the wall into a different multiverse.
yeah.
And it makes so much sense that that's what's going to open up to multiple Spider-Mans, Wanda running around looking for her children, all these things, and letting Kang in, letting Kang into, like, it lets him now move between all the multiverses. It would make all these ideas.
So it's interesting because it doesn't seem like there is any multiverse besides this, and like it says, like I said, anything that gets down, like they just shut it down. The TVA shuts it down. So it'll be interesting to see how they bring in, if it is Spider Verse, which, knock on wood, I hope it is, and I think it's going to be. How do they break this in? Like, do new? It's very confusing. I think we'll get more information, but this at least gave me a little bit of clarity that okay, the timeline we're used to, the MCU, is a sacred timeline, but then we also get that confirmation like some time jumping is okay, a la the Avengers timeline. Time jumping is supposed to happen as a part of the sacred timeline. So the TVA and the Timekeepers are like, that's good. But this Loki was never supposed to get the Tesseract. So now we have this Loki who has the Tesseract, but we also have the Loki who we know is going to die at the beginning of Infinity War. So I think we're going to get more questions. I think it's also fun because, like, you've read comic books before, right?
Yes, I mean, I've mostly really only started since the High Republic, but I have, like, glimpsed.
Well, here's the thing. Superhero timelines are the most messy thing in the world. The best example ever is the timeline for X-Men. Half the time does not make sense, but you just say, screw it. I'm just gonna read this. I'm gonna have a great time reading this, and I don't care when this takes place. So I think it's fun if it's like a little ambiguous about this whole timeline thing. I think we'll get more information that will help us understand it, especially when this is definitely going to lead to Doctor Strange. We know Wanda is going to be in Doctor Strange. We know Loki's going to be in Doctor Strange. We're assuming this Loki variant is going to be Doctor Strange. So we'll see, but we definitely get a nice bit of information from this TVA.
We
Also,
do.
the animation from it is fantastic. I love the little animation they did. I've probably watched that like 4 or 5 times besides my like rewatches. I've just watched this TVA clip just to make sure I get it right in my brain, like what's happening here. So pretty cool.
Yeah, it really just yelled the opening to WandaVision to me, which I liked.
Yeah.
Someone also had a really funny one where it's like in an alternate reality, and it's Captain America turning his chair around. It's like, so you became a time variant, and there's all these funny things. The internet works way too fast. But yeah, it's so interesting though, because to me, I don't know about your Twitter. Your Twitter and my Twitter always end up being very different. I did not see a ton of people like commenting on Loki the way like in spoilers the way WandaVision did. Personally, I think it's just because like I saw people say, "Oh, I loved it." This. I personally just think it's because we were so starved for any Marvel content, any form of content that people really just made WandaVision their personality, and that's not an attack on anyone. We did for several weeks as well.
I still do.
It just became this thing where it's like, oh my god, we've been waiting so long for this. A lot of people did it with Mandalorian too, but now that content is coming, which is important. Like Netflix, I've seen some great stuff on Netflix recently. All these things are actually happening, so it's not as much of like a, oh my god, my full attention is here. It's, oh, I really enjoyed this, but now I can also be enjoying other things and not be content starved.
Here's what I'll say with that. I think the only real spoiler I saw when I logged onto Twitter the next morning, and it was fine because I had seen it at 3 in the morning because I'm an idiot, was the Infinity Stones thing, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But that was really it for all I saw. So I will agree with that. I'm also wondering like how much of an influence Paul Bettany had on the spoiler culture around WandaVision because he made that promise. So a lot more people were up at 3 a.m. watching WandaVision, seeing who this like special guest was. So I wonder if how much that contributed to that. And then when you bring in Pietro or Pietro into things, I wonder how much that
Or
did
Boner.
it too. But so like
Boner.
I don't know. So we'll see. But anyway, anything else on the TVA? What we learned about them? The only real question I have, and it was one of my buddy Mikey. He started watching Marvel. Thank God for his girlfriend who got him into it like literally 3 weeks ago. So now like he understood things. Like he even had like a Marvel part in his like little toast to me at my wedding because he understood this now. And I literally said to him, I was like, "Oh, you understood that reference," and he understood that reference as a Captain America one. So that was nice. But his girlfriend Megan brought up a great point. That's like, okay, so if Loki gets shut down, like if they shut down this variant Loki, like what happens? Does he still get the Tesseract? Like, is it just a continuous loop? Like, how does that work? And I was like, that I don't know. That broke my brain a little bit. So I don't know if like you shut down this Loki and like cancel out this variant. Is there just an alternate loop where Loki keeps getting the Tesseract? Does that make sense?
No, I think. Well, no, they
Because that's always
explained it.
that's in the main timeline.
Owen Wilson's character, Morbius, right?
Yeah.
Morbius explained it where he's like, "Oh, I have a suggestion. Like you're guilty of crimes against the multiverse or of the sacred timeline." And he's like, and then Loki's like, "Are you going to kill me?" He goes, "No, I saved you from that." Where I think they just completely dissolve them. Where yes, something gets messed up, and then you go, "Okay, you don't
So he
you
doesn't go
cease
back to
to."
the beginning.
I do not think so. You cease to
Okay.
exist. That's
Okay.
because that's what they did. They were so fine with
Okay.
just completely roasting that guy that didn't take a ticket. They were so fine
Well,
just being like, okay, you're
so
out.
what I'm saying is like if you go back in time to 2018, that goes back in time into 20 or not 2018, 2023, that goes back into time into 2012. Like if I took the quantum realm to 2020, 2012, do I see the double up Avengers? Do I see Loki get the Tesseract? But I guess that makes sense. So it cancels it
Well,
out.
you would be a
It happens, and
variant,
that's
so
it.
you would be a variant as well. So you would get arrested for crimes against the sacred timeline and
Now my
also get
brain's thinking.
zapped.
I'll just accept it. Like they just disintegrate, and that ends that branch. Got it. Okay. Uh,
That's how I took it because especially because he said he saved them from
that's true.
he saved him from death.
That's true. Let's talk about the TVA if you don't mind. Are you good with that topic?
Let's keep going.
The TVA is, and definitely Loki realizes this too, is one of the most powerful places on Earth. This place is so powerful. We see Casey, who works at the TVA. Loki opens up, or he opens up his drawer, and there's just a drawer of Infinity Stones, and there's duplicates of them too. There's duplicate Reality Stones. There's duplicate Power Stones, just sitting in his drawer. And he even goes too far to say it's like, oh, like these guys, yeah, like some people use them as paperweights, which was just incredible. Like that was the big like spoiler, if you want to say that. I saw it was just like, holy crap, like that's in a bunch of Infinity Stones. But you got to imagine, like we've been brainwashed or brain trained in our brain basically to say the Infinity Stones are the most powerful things on Earth. There's six of them, and that's it. But you got to remember, if there's multiverses lines like things like that, then there are definitely more Infinity Stones from other realities. So this is interesting because this could bring back the Infinity Stones. We could get maybe Thanos again one day. Who knows? But the Infinity Stones can be brought back some way. They're not just gone, gone, gone. You know what I mean?
Well, I personally believe we're going to get Thanos in. We're going to get young Thanos in Eternals.
I believe
Personally,
so too.
they kind of have hinted without hinting that. Um, Marvel, if you want to make so much money, I mean, you already do. Sell the Infinity Stones at the new West Coast campus.
That'd be fun.
Just sell a box of them and market them as paperweights. That would be so
That's
funny.
funny.
But this should also help you get the how the breaking your brain thing. Where do they put the Tesseract back? No, they confiscate the material, leave it there because it's it gets reset in a different
It's
way.
already back in the
It's
main one.
already back, so they don't matter. Um,
But now they just have an extra power space stone.
but it
But
doesn't do anything because
right,
what I am assuming is that the TVA exists outside of space and time. They make that
yes,
comment also, um, because magic doesn't work there either.
and let's talk about that. So Loki can't use his magic here. Like that's how powerful the TVA is. They have Infinity Stones that don't matter and don't work, and they don't care about them. Loki can't use his magic here. They have these like neck collars that are called time twisters that people can be controlled like Doctor Strange style, where they can basically like, oh, you're gonna come attack me with this knife. I'm just gonna revert you back into that chair. Or if that chair's no longer there, I'm just gonna have you sit your butt on the ground, kind of thing. They can reset charges for Nexus events that happen, so it basically disintegrates the variants that shouldn't exist and basically resets everything so the sacred timeline stays the same. The TVA is so powerful, and it's so cool that like Owen Wilson is a member of the TVA, I guess. But we learned a lot here. Now I'll say this one. We'll talk more about like how powerful they are, but I have one comment I want to make about the drawer of Infinity Stones. But
Yes,
anything else on this? How powerful the TVA is? But
they're very powerful. I'm just gonna shout out to. I mean, I was a big fan of Hunter B-15, who was played
yes,
by Wonmi Masaku, who I know from Lovecraft Country, and she was excellent in that. So it's cool to see her in something a little bit
yeah,
more upbeat. I'll use that phrasing. A little bit more lighthearted.
for sure. Yeah, she had a funny role in this too, especially where like she was trying to be serious, but like it's funny because it's
The
like
fight
Loki.
scene was hilarious.
Well, and I think the when she puts the collar on him originally, B-15 puts the collar on Loki, and he's moving at like 1/16th, and then she comes into the frame like regular speed. I was like, something wrong with my TV? No, that's just how it's supposed to
I
work. So
was
that's pretty
like,
cool.
I was like, are we gonna have like the record scratch? Yup, that's me. You're probably
That's
wondering how
me.
we got there. That's what I was expecting to get, and then she walked in. I'm like, oh, we're dealing with time.
Right. Now let's. Do you have anything else on this? Or can I
Let's
just comment on something?
let's
The
keep going.
real
Or
quick, I
yeah,
want to comment
comment.
something on the drawer. There are power stones. There are reality stones. There's one space stone. There is a couple time stones. There's one giant soul stone, no mind stone. That's I'm interested about why there's no mind stone there.
Hmm.
Does that connect to Doctor Strange in the multiverse with Wanda somehow? I don't know. Did she somehow use the TVA maybe? And I don't know. I have no idea, but it's very interesting. There's no yellow stones, and the Soul Stone is one giant orange rock. So that was interesting to me. I don't know what that means. It could mean absolutely nothing. Maybe they just forgot to put a yellow one in there. I doubt it. I feel like there's a reason behind that, and I'm interested to see how that
Wait,
goes.
which one was missing?
The yellow Mind Stone was not there.
See, I would have thought if you weren't going to put one there, I thought you wanted to put the one that's in the Eye of Agamotto.
I would have thought that too, but there are one,
Because
two,
you could have
three,
had the thing
four
where the Eye of Agamotto was always throughout all time
on
with
that one.
a Nexus level character like the Sorceress Supreme that wouldn't adjust it because we know that she can work out that the Sorceress Supreme when she was the Ancient One could work outside of time as
Yeah,
we saw in Endgame.
there are four green time stones in the
Hmm,
drawer. So
interesting.
interesting. Let's continue. We got a new character. I mentioned him earlier. We have Mobius, who's played by Owen Wilson, who I thought was fantastic in this. We
It's
get
so
into
hard. I like barely recognize him with the gray hair. It's so mind boggling to me.
and he did so well with Tom Hiddleston. These I can't wait for the buddy cop movie of Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston as Loki and Mobius hunting down another variant Loki, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But we're introduced to Mobius in 1549 in France, where he's investigating a Nexus event, uh, which we find out later that basically he's hunting a Loki variant. He finds out that there's another Loki variant, the 2020, or excuse me, the 2012 Loki Avengers variant has been captured. He immediately rushes back to the TVA. He's desperate to learn more about 2020, or excuse me, 2012 Loki and see what makes him tick. Why does he do the things he does? So they have some really good back and forth here about like why do you do the things you do, Loki? Like, are you evil? Like all this stuff. I thought they played each other off really, really good. We do find out that Mobius is hunting like basically a serial killer variant of another Loki, who has been creating multiple Nexus events and going back and forth in different time things. And essentially, Mobius wants the 2012 Loki's help to chase after this Loki variant. What were your thoughts on Mobius? What were your thoughts on his goals, his mission, anything like that, Cliff?
First, I'm going to ask you a question. What is your favorite Owen Wilson movie?
Probably Wedding Crashers, I would think, right?
Okay. Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
it depends what route you want to go. Like Cars, I would accept as a solid answer because he was Lightning McQueen.
I
It's hard to say because like you're so used to his face. I honestly
yeah
would probably say Night at the
yeah
Museum though, even though he's not like it's not his movie, but he's a major part of Night at the Museum.
yeah
It's so
I
hard. He has a lot
oh
of good
boy
stuff. He's a lot of
I
good stuff.
the internship is kind of funny too. I no, I mean that's not as good as yeah, no, that's not as good as Wedding Crashers. I gotta go Wedding Crashers. Cars is definitely up there. That's not what I thought
I'd
about.
probably go Night at the Museum though. That's usually how I
Is he
see
in
him.
is
He's
he
the
in Me You and Dupree? Because that's funny-ish.
yes, he is.
That's not bad. Yeah, I'm gonna go. No, I'm gonna stick with Wedding Crash. I'm gonna go with my original answer, Wedding Crashers. That's what
I'll go with Night at the Museum.
go.
Um, I really liked his character. Like I said, it was like the immersion of it was not ruined by it being Owen Wilson, because he just did not look like himself to me. He had gray
Right.
hair instead of like the mop of blonde, um, and just a fun character. It was like he was a fanboy. It was kind of like what we would be because if you think about what the TVA is, they're almost the watchers. They just watch. And then if something goes wrong, they fix it. They're watching a movie. If we were watching a movie and something looked weird, we would fix it. Oh, the back when there was VHSs. Oh, the VHS isn't working. Oh, make sure to clean it out. Make sure to do this, and then go back and it's scrubbed and it works. And then it's like you've been watching this all. You have your favorite episodes. You have your favorite characters. So of course he's a big Loki fan. But it makes it sound like he's dealt with Loki before, and it comes with this Loki variant, and that's where my theory comes in about who that Loki is. Who do you think that Loki is?
I mean, we've seen countless internet rumors that there's gonna be like a lady Loki involved in this somehow. So I think it might be that. Do you think it's Do you think it really is a Loki
I
variant?
think it's
What do you think it is?
I think it's Lady Loki.
Yeah, I mean they have I forget what the woman's name is, but she's like a very famous actress, but like
Well, there's
no
so many.
idea who she is. It's kind of like Agatha, where like okay, we know this is Agatha, or hold on, what was her name?
Are you
We
talking
knew
about-
this was Agnes, but we didn't know it was Agatha officially. But I mean, this girl's got to play Lady Loki, so I'm interested to see how that works in the variants. How like you can have gender swaps or anything like that. So
Are you
I'll be
talking about
interested.
Sophia Di Martino?
I think so,
Yeah, she does not have
like a credit race,
she
basically.
well she doesn't have a yeah she does not have a name. She's also from a similar part of England as Tom Hiddleston, so the same one. And also if we think about it, and this was a thing where people were like don't say it, show it, where they're like, oh, Loki's gender fluid, and it's like okay, and then it was actually on his birth certificate thing that they were like, oh, sign here, and it said Loki and it did say gender fluid, so that would mean
Oh, did it? I missed that.
there could be a Lady Loki, and that's just how it flows.
Okay.
And if you have a problem with that, read Norse mythology. It's pretty common.
Also, I'll just flip you off too. But
That too, we could do that. But yeah, I think it's Lady Loki. I think that's cool. They're selling a action figure of Loki on Disney, and it comes with Kid Loki.
oh, really?
I think that was just a funny coincidence where it was like, oh yeah, Kid Loki. Like that's a fun thing. Where I had the theory that it would be Kid Loki because then he could join the new teen squad. But yeah, I think I. It's hard to say that Mobius stole the show because Tom Hiddleston was just so good in that episode.
It's a
Uh,
1A 1B situation.
it
It's the
really
Cameron
is.
special of the rankings.
It really is. What really sold it for me with Loki being like, oh, well, it's his show, was the pilot scene, the flight scene. That to me, like
Yes.
on the plane, that just sold it to me because it was just that like Loki smirk and everything. That was really good.
Well, it's cool as we've seen the growth of Loki, and we'll touch on this next about like probably one of the most emotional, heartbreaking moments in MCU history. I know I say that a lot, but like, my God, this one put me in my feels at like 3:30 in the morning. But what's cool about Loki is like Loki's progressed, right? We have the Avengers 2012 or 2012 Loki. We have all the way up to 2018 where like him and Thor for the most part like made up and he's kind of sacrificed himself a little bit to save his not even a little bit. He 1000% sacrificed himself so he could save his brother. Had that nice line like the sun will shine us upon us again, my brother. Really cool stuff. So to see Tom Hiddleston like go back to playing a 2012 Loki was awesome. It was really really fun. But Owen Wilson definitely 1A 1B with Tom Hiddleston about best acting in this episode so far.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's jump into it. One of the most heartbreaking things that I've seen in the MCU, and I've seen a lot of them, and I've talked about a lot of them in this podcast. But 2012 Loki gets to see the events that happened from 2012 on in the sacred timeline to his life. Uh, One of the coolest things. So Mobius basically shows Loki what the intended timeline looks like. He shows his detention in the Asgardian prison from Thor: The Dark World, how he indirectly helped kill his mother Frigga. Um, Loki's really appalled and denies that this is real. He believes that TVA has taken her hostage. Mobius kind of says like, no, listen, like these are the events that will happen to you. Like this is how it will always intend to be. You will always be the reason in the sacred timeline that Frigga dies. You will also have this moment we'll talk about a little bit with your dad. You'll also have these moments with the Revengers. You'll always have this death at the hand of the mighty Thanos, and that kind of puts him in his place. And what was really cool is like Loki escapes at one point, but instead of like escaping, he goes back to this interrogation room and watches the rest of this footage and the rest of this file. And he basically sees his core counterpart's life. He sees his father, Odin, basically confessing his love for his sons before he passes away. He sees him strengthening his bond with his brother Thor. He sees him becoming a Revenger and helping to destroy Asgard in order to save the Asgardian people. And he sees it all the way up to where he gets his throat crushed by Thanos in the Avengers Infinity War moment. In this moment, Loki really discovers his purpose. And Loki realizes that for the first time and after all this time, he does not enjoy hurting people. He simply hurts people to hide his weakness. And that's an incredible character moment, especially for 2012 Loki. Just incredible seeing him watch his life. And what I love at the end is somebody pointed this out, like at the end of when he dies to Thanos, it says end of file. File is an anagram for the word life. So like end of life, end of file. I thought that was incredible. Your thoughts on this scene and Loki's realization essentially that he is weak and he uses danger and his he creates his own power basically to hurt people to hide his weakness. He's the definition of oh my god, I'm a bully.
Wow, we both perceived that final scene so differently
Let me hear
from
it,
each
Cliff.
other. Oh my god, I
Let me
did
hear it.
not take it that I did take it that there was a whole thing we were well, first I'll just say for the people that were holding out hope that somehow Loki escaped in when he got strangled to death by Thanos. Like me, I was hoping without hope that we're gonna still get that Loki. He's gone.
Done. That
R.I.P.
Loki's done.
R.I.P. in peace. He's DAD dead. I took it. There was this whole thing about Loki and lying. He likes to do it. He likes to lie, and he figured out really quick that this agency is more powerful than his little petty squabble with the
Oh, Cliff, don't do this to me. You think
with
he's BSing this is all fake tears?
I don't think it's I
Oh,
don't think it's fully fake tears because there's always some truth in lies. But he figures out that the TVA is the power of the
yes.
universe, and he goes. Obviously, we know that Frigga was very important to both Loki and Thor.
Yeah.
Um, when she's like, "Are you my son?" and he's just a dick about it. Like that's just him like hiding his pain, obviously. And we know that that's Loki, but the way he's getting so emotional for Mobius, because the way his character changes when he sees Thanos, he's like, oh, the like hatred on his face just shows so much. It's so telling.
Because we know that this Loki knows Thanos. Like he was the
Yeah,
reason he got sent to, like literally 5 seconds ago, basically. Like he got sent here because of Thanos.
he knows the importance of this thing, and he knows Loki is smart. Loki is not a stupid person. He knows the best way to get to this power is to comply
So this is a
and
double cross
open
Loki.
up. This is like a double. This is double
I
agent
love that.
Loki. That's my theory. I took it as, oh my god, like I think when he was watching this and he's like the it was very nice seeing the Odin scene again, because those things did matter. Those things, that was not crocodile tears, because Loki was by himself. He was vulnerable in his own self. But when Mobius comes back and he's like, "This is why I do it," like he was so open just to tell it right away because he wants in. He wants
I
in to do this,
love that.
and I think it's gonna turn out where we're gonna end up getting a better Loki. I think we're gonna get to Endgame Loki, or no, Infinity War Loki. I don't think we're there. I don't think
So
we're
you
even
think
close
you
to
think
there
my
yet.
brain is just so brainwashed with
I
like,
think
oh
you just
look, he's actually a good guy that he switched that quick. I love that. I mean, here's the thing: if it happens my way, that's fine because I
yeah.
do love that soft sentimental Loki. But my God, that's gonna be a brain f if they
Well,
just
because
like,
that's
no,
the
he's
thing with like,
playing Mobius. He played Cameron Ramos through his screen at 3 in the morning. He played you. He played you. He didn't play Cliff. Cliff saw it. Cliff saw it. Everybody.
or
I
I'm
love
just
that.
crazy. I've been watching too much Christopher Nolan. Expect the unexpected.
I need people. Listen, we'll get to the Twitter at the end of the day. I need you to say like Cliff is right, Cam is right, and I hope Cliff is like 90% right. That would be incredible acting if he's. Oh my God, I would love that storyline.
Well, if anyone was gonna act like that, it would be Hiddleston. That's
Absolutely, that'd
if
be
we were
incredible.
gonna like put bets on who are the best like actors
Yeah,
in Marvel. I don't know if Tom would be like number one, but he'd be up there. Like
sure.
he's just like him outside of Marvel is just like a chef's kiss. Same thing with Benedict Cumberbatch, where it's just like, oh my god, like they're so good. Where that
Wow,
I
that's
mean,
incredible.
Olsen also is turning into that. Obviously, she's growing more as an actress than some of the other more defined. So it's just like a, oh my god, like I was seeing this, I'm like, because I wanted to. I was so much like, oh, he's changing. I'm like, and something in like the back of my head was like, no, he's not. Don't
I'll
let
say
your
this.
heart deceive you. Don't
I'll
let
say
your
this.
heart deceive you.
It sucks we have this podcast because now people will know this was your idea, and I can't be like, "Oh, you dummy, you didn't see it coming." Now there's like audio proof and video proof, like, "Oh no, this was a clip, like
Oops.
breaking Cameron's brain moment."
Oops, episode 81 got deleted.
Oh, that's a
How?
damn shame.
Um, yeah,
It was
that
in
was
my notes. It
my
was in my notes. That's
it
incredible. I
was
love
in my
that.
notes. That was just my thing. I'm like, oh yeah, this is gonna turn out because especially with the trailer, we know we're gonna get Loki, President Loki, which is sounds like it's gonna be him trying to double cross them
It'd be yeah. Oh my god,
and
I'm
pave his own
so
path. But
excited
we're just
right
gonna
now
wait
for
and
next
see.
Wednesday.
But that also might be the variant Loki.
Who knows? I love that we don't know, and there's still 5 more episodes left. We're gonna get a good story here. I love the show. This is like getting onto the level of spec. Like I feel like for Falcon Winter Soldier, I think those podcast episodes were fine. We didn't get to speculate a lot. This is returning me back to like remember when we were just throwing like things at the wall for WandaVision. That's what I feel like the show is letting us do, and this is when Marvel is the best when we're able to do this.
Yeah, WandaVision was the most unique. Falcon Winter Soldier was the most uh, puzzle piece. Like it fits that well. Like it just
Sure,
plug and play into it. It to me, Falcon Winter Soldier was an extended Marvel movie.
it was a what we're used to with a Marvel movie, which I have no complaints. I know people do with the cookie cutter stuff, but this is wow.
And what phase are we in right now?
4.
And this isn't a sound rude, just in general, but to me, Loki is the actual jump into phase 4.
Okay, yeah, I mean, yeah, especially if this is going to be like the whole multiverse thing, and that's where we've been thinking this is going to go, and we've had like the MacGuffin with Mysterio, and we were thinking the whole time like, okay, if you can't see, I'm staring at my watch. Okay, WandaVision, like give me the multiverse kind of things. This is going to be awesome.
Well, that's the thing. Like, if I was gonna say like how you were gonna watch it, I would start with Loki already. I would already be like, yes, if you're gonna want to watch the beginning of Phase 4, start with Loki. Then I'd probably what came first? Falcon in timeline
I'll say
wise, what
this:
comes first? Falcon and Winter Soldier or WandaVision?
WandaVision 6 weeks after. I'll say this: I think we have to hold off on that until we figure out what happens with Black
I'm
Widow,
throwing the cards. Oh well.
because
See,
that was
I
supposed to be the original kickoff. I think
but
after Black Widow,
I almost see that as still like that almost jumps back to phase 2 timeline
but
wise.
I don't think you start off Phase 4 with Black Widow if there's not something important with it. The
If
only
I'm going to
reason
be
it hasn't been
100%
there is because they wanted the box office things.
if I'm going to
I,
be 100% honest with you, I completely forgot Black Widow is coming out.
it comes out while the show's coming out, which is why I'm kind of surprised we're not getting episodes Wednesday and Friday for Loki if it was just a 3 week event as opposed to 6 weeks. Because it's literally, I think like episode 5 comes out the week that Black Widow comes out. So we'll see. But Cliff, final thing, we don't have to touch on it too much. Basically, Loki decides I'm going to team up with Mobius. I thought for good reasons. Cliff thinks for some nefarious reasons, which I love. We'll see who's right. I hope Cliff is right. If I'm right, that's fine too. But Mobius recruits 2012 Loki to help his cause to find this other variant Loki. We get a cliffhanger scene that takes place in 1858, Oklahoma, where a Nexus event has occurred. And before the Minutemen can set the charge to reset the timeline there, a hooded figure attacks them, showing that we now have a branch of an unchecked Nexus event that I'm sure will open up a whole can of worms, not only for this show, but maybe even lead up to a new inter-timeline war, which would be incredible if that's what we get with Phase 4. My last question is, who's that hooded figure? We both kind of think it's going to be Lady Loki, so we'll see where that happens. But anything real quick on that, like I said, we kind of touched on that, but nice little cliffhanger, like, oh my god, who's this hooded figure? But also like, okay, this is how we get Loki and Mobius together, basically.
Yeah, the way I would explain this is we know the villain in this season is Loki. A
We think.
very
I mean, they could throw a curveball. We have
they
no
could
idea.
they could, but Mobius's villain is a different variant of Loki.
Yes,
If
I
it
think
was a
so.
Tom Hiddleston Loki, and that's the thing, you're introducing the villain at the end of the episode, and context clues give it that it's Loki, that it's the other one. However, and it would make sense because especially because it sounds like they continuously try to make variant Lokis help.
Yeah.
That kind of is like what it seems like. Like in front of the judge, he's like, I have an idea, and she's like, if it is what you think it is, it's a bad idea because he's Mobius keeps doing it. He keeps trusting Loki's, and
That's the best.
it's probably
Like,
because you're
Loki
like
is the Morty of the MCU.
he,
There's just a citadel of Lokis, like in Rick and Morty. Can you imagine? That'd
oh
be
my god,
incredible.
that would actually track. Oh my god,
With the
the
with
TVA is the TVA
the
is literally the Citadel of Ricks.
the TVA is the Citadel Rex.
Damn it! Why would
I'm
I
gonna tweet this right now.
go right ahead? You can get the clout. Um, where he keeps doing this. Mobius keeps getting these Lokis, probably because they either die or they turn evil or it's just all these things. But if it was actually a Tom Hiddleston Loki, they wouldn't have had a hood around him. So this
Right?
Loki
Yeah.
variant is not a Tom Hiddleston Loki. That's what I'll say. Or it is a curveball. Maybe it's Kang. Maybe it's Mephisto. But
Maybe.
it's definitely not. I'm gonna clear the air. Someone on TikTok pointed out when we were in the church and you see the devil. That was not. People are like, oh my god, there he is. It's Mephisto already, and it's like someone pointed out. I wish I remembered his name. Um, the horns, the devil horns, are Loki. That's his helmet. His helmet is the devil
Right.
horns, and the body, like the body, was shaded green. The
Yeah.
body of the devil was shaded green. It's Loki. That's what I'll end
Um.
on. That is what I'll end on.
Yeah. I'm so excited for next Wednesday. I love we're getting these on Wednesday. Like, I was like sad this morning. I was like, oh crap! Like we're not gonna get Loki tomorrow, but we get a Bad Batch episode. So who cares? We're gonna get so much content. I hope they continue on with these like different day releases. We'll see where it goes. But any final thoughts, Cliff? Because now you broke my brain about this. Like Loki's like actually playing Mobius, which I love.
A plus. That is what I will say. I will follow what the other critics have said, and it was an A plus premiere.
Where do you rank this among WandaVision and Falcon Winter Soldier? First episode premiere only.
Number one. I mean,
Yeah.
we all know the WandaVision premiere was not completely regarded well. It was a little slow. Um, and Falcon and Winter Soldier kind of set the stage because it was the opening of a movie, so it's a little bit
Yeah.
slower than usual. But no, definitely by a lot.
I'm gonna
The
go
number one by a lot.
Loki, A, WandaVision, D, Falcon Winter Soldier, E, basically. So there's a big gap between them, I think.
Okay, okay, sounds
Um,
good to me.
I already have one like on this
It
Citadel
was
alert.
it
Oh,
was
it's from
me.
you. God damn it.
All right.
All
Now
right, Cliff,
your
where can the
favorite.
nice people find you on social media if
They
they
can
want to talk to you to say, yeah, Cam's an idiot, Cliff is right, Loki's playing Mobius. How's
or
that?
vice versa. You can find me at CP Robinson81, and thank God you're here this week because I do not want to. Thank God you're here today because I did not want to do this again. So where can they find you and the pod?
You can find me on Twitter at CamRamos95. You can find the podcast at Stream the Mouse on Twitter. You can find us on Instagram at Streaming with the Mouse as well as on Facebook. You can find us on our website, cprob.com/streaming with the mouse. And you can find us on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Google Podcasts. Please rate, review, subscribe to our podcast. The more people rate, review, and subscribe to it, it really helps our numbers out. We want to get this out there, especially with a fun show like this with Loki, where I said it before. This is going to be like WandaVision level speculation and ideas where we're going to be able to have this fun banter. We want to have this fun banter. We want everybody to listen to it. So please help us out with that. We also want you to participate with us. So tell me I'm wrong. Tell Cliff he's an idiot. Tell us we're both idiots. I don't care. It doesn't have to be Loki related. Just tell us we're idiots because we're idiots. I don't know.
Yeah,
But that's where you can find us. But Cliff, anything else for today?
I have a better one for this one. Have a mischievous day, everybody.
We are. Oh, what's the word? I don't know. We're burdened with glorious purpose. God damn, I
There we
that.
go. We're
I
burdened.
messed it up. Have a magical day, everybody. Avengers disassemble, all that fun stuff. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week for our episode 6 recap of the Bad Batch.
Bye, guys.